Everything in Kate's life finally started working until she fell mysteriously sick. What she later discovered almost destroyed her. This is the story of a girl who trusted and paid for it. Sit with me, let me show you how it all began. Kate didn't just stop believing in God, she walked away from him like someone who had been cheated, no, betrayed. There was a difference. People lose faith quietly, they drift, they get distracted, life gets busy. Kate didn't drift, she shut the door hard and she never looked back. The night her mother died didn't feel real at first. It felt like one of those stories people exaggerate in church. It was a terrible accident, but God knows best. That phrase alone made her sick. God knows best. What kind of best includes a woman who prayed every morning at 5 a.m., who fasted on Mondays and Thursdays, who never missed a single church service, dying on a lonely road, her body crushed beyond recognition? Kate remembered the call. Her father's voice was shaking, but he was trying to sound strong. Kate, your mom, there's been an accident. She didn't even cry at first. She just kept asking the same question. Is she okay? Silence. Then, no. That was it. That was the moment something inside her cracked open and never closed again. The funeral was worse. People filled the compound. Women cried loudly. Men spoke in hushed voices. Church members came in their uniforms, quoting scriptures like it was medicine. It is well. She's in a better place. God gives and God takes. Kate stood there, staring at her mother's casket, feeling nothing but rage boiling under her skin. She wanted to scream. Don't say God's name here. Don't bring him into this. Because if God was real, then he watched it happen and did nothing. After that, everything changed. At first, it was small things. She stopped praying before meals. Then she stopped going to church. Then she stopped responding whenever anyone said, God bless you. It felt fake, empty, like people were clinging to something that wasn't even there. Her father tried, at least in the beginning. Kate, you can't shut God out because of this. She laughed, sharp, bitter. Because of this? My mother is dead. Don't talk like that. Then, how should I talk? He had no answer. That was the problem. Nobody ever had real answers, just rehearsed lines. By the time she turned 24, Kate had completely detached from anything that smelled like faith and church. She became hard, not rebellious in the obvious way, just cold. She didn't argue anymore, didn't cry, didn't open up. She built a life where God didn't exist, and honestly, it was easier. No expectations, no disappointment, no hope to be crushed, just reality. Then her father brought Veronica home. Kate knew before anyone said anything. The way the woman stood slightly behind her father, the careful smile, the way her father kept glancing at her like he was measuring her reaction. This is Veronica, he said. Veronica stepped forward gently, not too close. Hello, Kate. Kate didn't respond, didn't smile, didn't even nod. She just looked at her, then walked past her like she was invisible. Veronica didn't push. That was the first thing Kate noticed. She didn't force conversations, didn't try to act like mother of the house, didn't even correct Kate when she ignored her. Instead, she did small things, consistent things. She cooked. She asked if Kate had eaten. She knocked before entering her room. She learned how Kate liked her food. Even Kate never told her. It was strange, because Kate was used to resistance, arguments, correction. But Veronica moved like someone who understood pain without needing it explained. Still, Kate didn't soften. Not immediately. If anything, it irritated her. One evening, Veronica tried. Kate, I know it's not easy. Please. Kate cut in sharply. Don't start. Veronica paused, studied her face carefully. I wasn't going to preach. Good. I just wanted to say I am here. Kate scoffed. I don't need you. There it was. Cold, direct, final. Veronica didn't flinch. All right, she said quietly, but I'll still be here. Weeks passed, then months, and something started shifting. The house felt calmer. There was less tension, less silence that felt heavy. Veronica had a way of making space feel safe, and Kate hated that she noticed. Then came the night that cracked something open again. It was past midnight. Kate couldn't sleep. Her thoughts were loud. Memories of her mother, the accident, the unanswered questions, the anger that never really left. She got up, pacing her room, trying to shake it off. Then she heard a faint voice coming from the sitting room. At first, she ignored it. Then she listened again. It was prayer. Kate frowned. Slowly, she stepped out of her room. The house was dark except for a dim light in the sitting room. And there was Veronica, kneeling, alone, hands clasped, eyes closed, praying like no one was watching. Kate was about to turn back. Then she heard her name. Lord, I know she's hurting. Kate froze. I know she feels abandoned, like you failed her. Her chest tightened. But you didn't leave her. You're still here. You're still reaching for her. Kate swallowed hard. She shouldn't be listening. She knew that. But she couldn't move. Please, heal her heart. Remind her that she's not alone, even when she refuses to believe it. Kate stepped back quietly, returned to her room, closed the door, and just stood there, still. Something felt off. Because for the first time in years, faith didn't sound like noise. It sounded real. She didn't sleep that night. Her mind wouldn't stop replaying it. She's hurting. You're still reaching for her. Heal her heart gently. The next morning, she avoided Veronica completely. No eye contact, no conversation, nothing. But Veronica didn't act differently. She just continued like nothing happened. Days passed, then weeks, and Kate found herself noticing things. The way Veronica prayed quietly every night. The way she never forced church conversations. The way she never used fear. No threats about hell. No guilt. Just consistency. It got under Kate's skin because it wasn't what she expected. Then one Sunday morning, Veronica asked gently, Kate, I am going to church. Would you like to come with me? Kate almost said no, but the word didn't come out immediately. I'll think about it, she said instead. Veronica nodded. Okay. She didn't rush her. That was what made it harder to resist. She didn't turn it into a teaching moment. She didn't sit Kate down for a serious conversation. Didn't start quoting scriptures every 5 minutes like people usually did when they sensed weakness. She just stayed consistent. Same quiet care, same steady presence, same prayers, whether Kate was watching or not. The first time Kate followed her to church again, it wasn't a decision she was proud of. It actually irritated her. She stood in front of the mirror that morning, staring at herself like she was about to betray something. This doesn't mean anything, she muttered, but deep down, she knew it did. The church was different, not like the one her mother used to attend. This one was intense, not noisy for the sake of noise, but heavy, charged, like something real was happening beneath the surface. People prayed like they expected answers immediately. That alone made her uncomfortable. The first few Sundays, she didn't participate. She sat, watched, observed. Arms folded sometimes, face unreadable. When people lifted their hands, she didn't. When they prayed, she stayed silent. When the pastor spoke about God's love, she looked away. But she didn't leave. That was the part she couldn't explain. Then came the sermons, not the soft ones she was used to hearing as a child. These ones didn't beg for belief. They confronted things: pain, anger, offense, silence, disappointment with God. Things she thought she had buried neatly. Things no one had ever addressed directly. One Sunday, the pastor said something that landed too close. You can be angry with God and still need Him. Pretending you don't need Him doesn't heal you. It just hardens you. Kate felt it, sharp, uncomfortable, personal. She didn't cry, she didn't move. But something in her chest tightened in a way she hadn't felt in years. From that day, something subtle began to shift, not visible to anyone else. But inside her, the resistance started weakening. She started listening more closely, not to believe, but to argue in her head, to question, to challenge. But even that required her to pay attention, and attention slowly turned into engagement. Then one night, during prayers, it happened. Nothing spectacular, no thunder, no falling under anointing, just a moment. Everyone was praying, voices low, some intense, some broken. Kate stood there, quiet like always, hands by her side, eyes open, disconnected. Then she closed her eyes, just for a second, almost out of exhaustion. And for the first time in years, she tried. Not a full prayer, not anything deep, just one sentence, barely even a whisper. God, if you are there, then why? That was it. No amen, no follow-up, just a question, raw, unfiltered, real. But that moment mattered more than any loud declaration because it was honest. And it was the first time she spoke to God without pretending He didn't exist. After that, it became a process, slow, uneven. Some days she felt nothing. Some days she felt irritated again. Some days she almost stopped going entirely. But she didn't. Veronica never celebrated too early. Never said, I knew it. She just kept walking beside her, quietly, faithfully. Weeks turned into months, and something began to rebuild. Not the version of faith she had before, but something more grounded, less emotional, more real. Kate started praying again, not long prayers, not perfect ones, just conversations, sometimes angry, sometimes confused, sometimes silent, but real. She began to listen during services, not as an outsider, but as someone trying to understand, trying to reconcile the God she had rejected with the possibility that maybe she didn't understand Him fully to begin with. Trust didn't return in one piece, it came back in fragments, little by little, moment by moment. And somewhere along the line, without any announcement, without any dramatic turning point, Kate stopped fighting. Not because all her questions were answered, but because she was no longer running. Faith didn't come back as noise. It came back as surrender, quiet, firm, unforced. And for the first time since her mother died, Kate didn't feel like she was talking into emptiness anymore. And she wasn't fully healed, not yet, but she was no longer closed. And that alone changed the direction of her life completely. 3 months after she returned to church and started praying again, doors that had been locked for years suddenly opened. It felt too direct to be coincidence. Before that, job hunting had humbled her in ways she never admitted to anyone. She had sent out applications until her email felt like a dumping ground for rejection. So when the bank job came, it didn't feel small. It felt like release. She didn't scream, didn't jump. She just sat there, quiet. Then one thought formed, clear and heavy. So, you were listening. That was all it took. Whatever fragile thread of belief she had started rebuilding, it tightened. The job itself was not soft. Nothing about banking, especially marketing, is soft. They didn't pay you to sit pretty. They paid you to produce numbers, targets, deposits, accounts, clients. Every month came with pressure that didn't ask how you were feeling. It only asked one thing. Did you deliver? Kate entered that system quietly. No noise, no overconfidence. But something about her approach was different. While others chased aggressively, cold calls, pressure tactics, forced persuasion, Kate moved with a strange kind of calm focus. She still worked hard, very hard, but underneath it, there was something else. Dependence. She prayed before stepping out each morning. Lord, let me meet the right people today. Let the right conversations happen. Help me not to waste effort. And somehow, things started aligning. Not every day, but enough time to make it noticeable. She would walk into a place, planning to speak to one person, and meet someone more valuable. A conversation that should have ended in 5 minutes would stretch, open up, and turn into a deal. Referrals started coming, not because she begged for them, but because people trusted her enough to mention her name. Within her first few months, she hit her target. Clean, no struggle. Her manager noticed it. At first, it was just a nod. Then, it became attention. Then, expectation. Kate, how are you doing this? She shrugged the first time. Just working. But that wasn't the full truth. By the second quarter, she wasn't just meeting targets. She was exceeding them. Not slightly, significantly. End of month reviews became predictable. Her name at the top, again and again and again. Colleagues started watching her, not openly at first, but you could feel it. That quiet shift when people are trying to understand what you're doing differently. One afternoon, a colleague approached her. Be honest with me, what's your strategy? Kate looked at her for a moment. There were many things she could say. Follow-up systems, client profiling, timing, communication, all true. But she said something else. I pray. The girl laughed at first, thought she was joking. Kate didn't laugh. That was when it became awkward. Some people dismissed it, others became curious. A few actually came to her privately. Can you show me how you approach clients? Do you have a script you use? Maybe your pitch is different. Kate would explain what she could, but she never removed God from the conversation. Not as a performance, just as fact. End of the year came, award night. When they called her name for best marketing staff, it didn't feel shocking anymore, but it still felt heavy. Because she remembered where she was just a year before that, jobless, angry, closed. Now she stood in front of people clapping for her, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like life was working against her. Years passed, and she didn't slow down. If anything, she became sharper, more structured, more intentional. She understood people better, understood timing, understood how to position value in a way that made people listen without feeling pressured. But with growth came something else, restlessness. It didn't start as dissatisfaction. She was earning well, respected, stable. But something in her kept pushing. This isn't the end. She tried to ignore it at first, stayed focused, stayed consistent. But the feeling didn't leave, it grew. One evening, after work, she sat in her car longer than usual, engine off, hands on the steering wheel, just thinking. I can do more than this. The thought came quietly, but it stayed. That was when she started looking outward. The insurance industry had always been there. Bigger deals, higher risk, higher reward. Insurance was about convincing people to commit to long-term financial protection, life policies, investment plans, business coverage. You weren't just selling something immediate. You were selling trust over time, and the commission structure, aggressive. A good policy could earn you a large percentage upfront, then residuals over time. If you knew what you were doing, the numbers multiplied fast. Kate studied it quietly, watched how people in that space operated, and one thing became clear. Most people struggled there because it required patience, persuasion, and consistency at a different level. She smiled. That didn't scare her. She applied. No noise, just her portfolio, her results, her numbers. When they called her in, The interview didn't feel like an interrogation. It felt like confirmation. You've been doing this long? Yes. These numbers are consistent. Yes. There was a pause. A look exchanged. Then, we would like you to resume next month. Just like that. It almost felt too easy. But Kate didn't overthink it. In her mind, it was simple. God is still involved. That evening, she told Veronica, not casually, fully. They pay commission per policy, she explained, sitting forward, energy in her voice. Not small. Depending on the package, you can earn like 30 to 40% upfront. And if the client keeps renewing, you keep earning. Veronica listened carefully. So, it's not salary based? There is salary, but that's not the real money. Kate said, the real money is in closing deals, big ones. She paused, then added, almost smiling, if I do this right, I won't think small again. Veronica didn't react with excitement, not immediately. She just watched her, measured. Just be careful, she said quietly. Kate frowned slightly. Careful of what? Anything that looks too fast, too easy, always check it well. Kate leaned back, half amused. God is in it, she said. That settled it for her. When she resumed at the insurance company, she didn't enter as a beginner. She entered as someone who already understood the game, and within weeks, it showed. While others struggled to close even 1 or 2 clients in a month, Kate was already building numbers, 7, 8, 10, consistently. And these weren't small policies. They were structured, intentional, profitable. The commission started reflecting it. At the end of her first full month, when she calculated her earnings, she had to double check, then check again. This wasn't banking money. This was different. By the second month, it became clear. This wasn't luck. Her name started circulating again, faster this time, louder. Managers noticed, not just her direct supervisor, higher up. How is she doing this so quickly? Is she bringing clients from somewhere? Who trained her? No one could fully explain it. Quarterly review came. She didn't just perform, she dominated. Award, recognition, visibility. Her manager became openly invested in her, called her in for strategy discussions, mentioned her during meetings, used her as proof that results were possible. You people need to learn from Kate, he would say. This is what consistency looks like. Some admired her, some resented her, most just watched. But Kate, she was enjoying it, not arrogantly, but fully. Because in her mind, everything was aligning. Faith, work, results, money, recognition. It felt like confirmation, like she had finally stepped into the version of life that made sense. And the more it worked, the more convinced she became. She had figured it out. What she didn't realize yet was that not everything that grows fast is stable, and not every open door comes without a cost.